Digital projects cost money, yes, but that doesn't mean if you don't scan them, that's just free. Just the costs show up in different ways. So that's what we're gonna go over in this video today, is how those hidden costs of not scanning will show up in your organization. First, we'll just call them time vampires. Hard copy, analog, physical, whatever you wanna say. Physical records are time vampires because they take up your time to use them. They slowly suck the life out of you a few minutes at a time. So we'll just use an example, like you have to fulfill requests, people calling to get records, and you have to go get the hard copy. So someone calls in and says, hey, I'm John Smith. I need my file for XYZ. Okay, maybe you walk to a storage cabinet or a room or down the hallway or other side of the building. You go pull open some cabinets, find out where's John Smith, which year is it, which department was he in, okay. You pull out the records, you walk back to your desk, maybe you have to go to a photocopier so you can mail these, snail mail, or maybe you have to fax it or create a digital scan of this. Then you're gonna email it to this person. Again, you might have to physically mail it, fax it, email it, whatever it is, however your process is designed. Then once you're done with that, you still have to go back, put the file away, then walk back to your desk. That's a bunch of time to just get someone a record request. And that's why we call it a time vampire, because it just slowly, every request, a few minutes at a time, just sucking the life out of you, taking time away from whatever you're supposed to be doing otherwise, your main job to fulfill these requests. The request itself might be part of your main job, but just the amount of time to get to the record and provide it compared to a couple clicks of a digital file and shooting it over to that person. That's the first hidden cost. Next are storage costs. So again, you're not scanning, so maybe you're saving, hey, I'm not spending $60,000 to do these couple hundred boxes, whatever it is, but you still have costs to store. Maybe that's offsite storage. Of course, you're paying someone for that. If it's on-site storage, well, it's just in part of the room. It's just in the closet over there. It's just taking up a few cubicles over on the other side of the office. But that's still a cost because whatever space that is not being used for something else. Maybe that could be cabinets and boxes everywhere. If they were cleaned up, other employees could use them. You could put maybe other machines that are used in your job in that area. Maybe if there were more people, these areas were cleared out, there'd be more space for additional employees to, again, create revenue or fulfill the obligations of the department, the company, the organization. But instead, you have closets, cabinets, storage rooms, just filled with records because there's nowhere else to put them. Next, one of the hidden costs are the security risks. If you have physical records that contain sensitive information, you need to be protecting them properly. Hard copies can be harder to maintain than digital copies, especially in the security aspect, because you don't really have that digital footprint of who's accessing the records. If you have digital records, you can have multi-factor authentication, you can have permission-based access, least privilege access, designating only certain individuals to access certain files or folders, applications. You would require a password and then a secondary token to log in. You could lock down access to certain applications based on IP address so they couldn't access it from home. Or if they do work from home, you can lock it down. But with physical records, you don't have all that. You basically have, well, we have a room, maybe there's a key, and only certain people have access to a key, but the key's in a drawer so someone could get it out of the drawer. Or even if the key was used, do we know who even used the key? Was it the person that keeps the key on hand, or did they give it to someone to act? It becomes kind of a quagmire of who really did something. Now you may have cameras, but that's another aspect of security that you'd have to add in, cameras over those storage areas, over those locked cabinets, whatever it is. And with all that said, if the security of the records isn't tight and an unauthorized person does get access, you could be in breach of some compliance regulations that would not be good for your organization. Then tied to security, but a little different, are disasters. Physical records, you have a storage room of 500 boxes and there's a flood. Oops. Or there's a fire. Fires are common. You have 6,000 rolls of insurance records on microfilm that just go poof, burned, gone. You have hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, whatever it is, but the physical records, unless they're in a specialized facility, are very much at risk of damage. And even if it's not a crazy disaster, you might just have a leaking pipe in a storage room, which then creates mold on the records, which then makes them potentially unscannable because they just degrade over time. Who knows what it is? But the physical records have that issue that they can get damaged, destroyed, or just lost or stolen. Someone takes something out, forgets to put it back in the right spot, can't find that record anymore. Or someone takes it that isn't supposed to take it, gone. Compliance breach. With all those disasters we just talked about, you could have a backup of the hard copies, but are you really gonna have, you have 400 boxes of files. Are you gonna have duplicates of those? Another 400 boxes duplicated of those physical records? Very likely not. I actually have never seen that. But if you have digitized records, very easy to duplicate and back up and protect. So having that hard copy is a hidden cost of What if something happens and I lose that data and can't get to it? Am I at risk of not being able to fulfill company obligations? Is there a risk of losing someone else's data that I was supposed to keep? That's something you don't want to worry about. If you digitize it, you can mitigate those risks. So going over all those hidden costs, what we come down to last is, of course, the solution is to digitize. If you digitize, you can get rid of those time vampires sucking away all that life out of you, because now you'll have an easier, more efficient way to access your data and fulfill requests, let's say. You can eliminate hard copy storage and free up space for other uses in your organization. You can beef up the security and protection of your records and also mitigate compliance risks by digitizing. And lastly, you can back up your data and prevent total loss from natural disasters or even human disasters. So those are the hidden costs of not digitizing and why you should digitize. And if you're wondering, well, I want to do it, but I don't know how to pay for a scanning project, great. Here's a video you can watch with 3 different options to pay for a digital scanning project. Check it out, see if any may apply to you, and thank you for watching.